In this video, we are going to learn about web server, mainly on Apache HTTP server. If you have still not subscribed to the YouTube channel, then please do the same. I've already created multiple videos on real world AWS projects and will be creating more such videos. When we talk about a web server, the server part is a confusing term. Different people use it in different contexts. So let me provide a technical definition of what a server is and what a web server is. A server is a physical or a virtual machine which provides you CPU, RAM, and storage. That's the technical definition of a server. Whereas a web server is a software application which is running on your physical or virtual server. This web server is mainly used for serving the content, which can be a HTML page or can be an image or a video, which is present on your machine to your users. So the users will mostly use a browser which will be present on their local machines, and from the browser they can easily connect to the web server, and the web server will serve the content which is present on the machine. In the real world, Apache HTTP server is widely used in the industry, and any of the websites that you access is mostly run by a Apache HTTP server. It is widely used in the industry, and we will create, and from a demo perspective, what we will do is we will create a virtual server in AWS, also called as EC2 instance, and on that EC2 instance we will install a Apache web server, and we will try to connect to it from the browser. So let's do a quick demo of this exercise. In this exercise, we are going to create a EC2 instance and install the Apache web server. For that, we will first need to create a security group. Click on the security group section and let's create a new security group. Click on create security group and you will see a screen like this. Specify the security group name. Select the default VPC. And the important thing to note over here is we need to specify the inbound rules. Inbound rules specify the ports that are allowed on that EC2 instance. So we need to allow SSH, which runs on port 22, HTTP on port 80, and we are going to reconfigure the web server to run on port 8080. So that's why we have selected custom TCP and port 8080. Also, there is another drop down which says source. This means that from which IP address do you want to allow the connections, and we will select anywhere IPv4. So these are the three inbound rules, and we will keep the default outbound rule and create this security group. Now we will go and launch a new EC2 instance. I am already on this page. Give this a name, web server. Select Amazon Linux and default T2 micro instance type. Select your default key pair. Then in the network settings, we will select existing security group, and we will try to, yeah, this is the security group that we had created, web server security group. Let's use this and keep all the default settings and launch the instance. Once this is done, then we will wait for some time for the instance to come into the running state, and then we are going to connect to this instance. We have given sufficient time to the machine to come up. Click on the connect button, and here in the username, instead of the default user, change it to root and click on connect. It will take a little bit of time for the SSH connection to be established, but meanwhile, let's understand the commands that we need to run. So we plan to install the HTTP daemon or the Apache web server on this EC2 instance. So the first command is yum install -y HTTPD. This will install the software. It will download it from the internet and it will install it on your local EC2 machine. Then for starting the server, you need to use the second command. Let's perform these two steps first. I will run this. It will take a little bit of time. Let's copy the second command, which is for starting the server. The installation is successfully completed. Let's run this command. Our server has successfully started. To verify whether the server is up or not, let's copy the IP address of this machine from here and then open a new tab and say http:// and the IP address of your machine. Yeah. So you will get a response. It works from the Apache web server, which is running on your EC2 instance. So if I go back and if I stop this machine, then let's say if I run this command, instead of this, I run this command, stop HTTPD. And if you go back and run this command, you are not going to get any response. Let me go back and start the server again. Yeah. And you should get your response back. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to change the port on which the web server is running. For that, we need to modify a configuration file called as httpd.conf. Okay. So let's copy this command from here. Go back to our page. Let me zoom it a little bit here. I'm using the VI editor, which is the default editor in Linux. And now here we will scroll down using the command key and we will search for a tag called as listen. Okay. And here by default the Apache web server listens on port 80. And now we are going to change it to port 8080. Okay. Now VI is a little complicated. The VI editor, there are few commands that you need to know. Okay. So by default, when you use the VI editor, you are in the command mode. Okay? And in the command mode, you cannot edit the file. So for coming out of the command mode, you can press A. A means append. Now you saw that the cursor moved a little bit. Now I will change it to 8080. Now after this, press the escape key, then type :WQ and press enter. This will save and exit from the VI editor. So this change is done. The next change is to just stop the server. We will run the same command and restart it. I will say start again. Now I will go back to my tab and instead of specifying the default port, I will say IP address : the new port number and let's try to access it. So you are getting a response, it works. Let me refresh it again. So we are getting an output as it works. Because we have changed the config file and we have changed the port on which the web server is running from 80 to 8080. Now, if I change it back to 80, okay, and if you try to access it, you will not get any response. So this was the exercise as part of this demo. Thanks for watching and have a good day.